I'm Ed Enclona. I'm called the Colorblind Creative. So I do fashion photography, creative directing, and now I'm starting my own brand. So I'm from Bulacan, but now I'm living in Quezon City. So where I'm kind of close to the studios. So I used to live in Navotas, which is kind of far to all the studios and work for me. And then now this year, I just transferred here in Quezon City. So I'm now kind of independent because I used to live with my parents.
Yeah. Why Quezon City? Why Quezon?
Quezon City is the perfect area for me because it's kind of much accessible to going to my parents' house, like Santa Maria, Bulacan, and also going to the studios because most of the studios I rent is like 5 minutes away from my house, 10 minutes away. So that's very feasible for me and like workable. Like photography and painting was introduced to me when I was in sophomore year. So when I was second year college. So I've been doing it just for fun, just like as part of my subject and curriculum. So then it started to build the enthusiasm. Then while working on that, like I was kind of having it like as a passion. It develops as well. It transformed into a passion. Then I didn't know that photography can be like a source of living. So luckily, the digital age is like evolving. So Instagram was introduced to me. Then I started uploading my photos. So I discovered that there are a lot of photographers or like passionate people that doing photography. Then they introduced me to fashion. Then on my fourth year, that was the like really okay. I want to be a photographer. That's after college when I graduated. I decided that I want to have like a simple adult life. Like I want to have like a very free adult life. So I decided not to go to an office or like a 9 to 5 job or like 9 to 6 job or 8 to 5 job. Then that's it. Now I'm doing photography full time for 5 years.
How was the start?
It's very rough because I used to join a lot of painting contests when I was in college. So luckily, when I was in my third year, I won a national painting competition that gives me like a 50K to as a savings. So I decided that I will use that 50K as a safety net. So when I did the freelancing jobs, like I don't have to worry that I will be like bankrupt or like become like a serial. On my first 2 years when doing freelancing, it's kind of rough because I didn't come from like a top school, like a top universities. So I have to work on what I have. So I relied on Instagram, just posting all of my work. I ended up having like just 20 pesos in my wallet. Then I still have to make my portfolio. So I have to develop it all the time. So I always kind of have like small gigs that just pay me like around 3,000 peso. Then I use that to produce my personal works like that. So for the past 3 years, it's kind of like that. So it's always an investment. Each time that I have gigs, I have to use that money to give it to my parents, then also to invest in doing passion projects. Because passion projects always expresses my creativity or how I see my craft or my aesthetic as well.
Do you survive with those 50Ks? Honestly?
Sometimes I always get it from the 50K, but I always refuse to get that money because that's my safety net. So I don't have to like get some amount from that. So I always give it to my mom. So I don't need. Always refuse to get from that because I think that money deserves to be invested to something. I just need that like if I don't have money but and always want to shoot, I'll get some from that. Then my my gig will return that money back like that. So, but that time that I have the 20 pesos, I I hardly like refuse to do that to get some money from that because yeah, I think I need that money for my parents or something. in case of emergency, or if I in case I fail. So I can use that money for a business or something.
Do you think photography is a privilege?
I can't say that it's a privilege, but I'm lucky enough to be like a photographer that survive whatever happens, like now in pandemic, or like not having enough gigs and still being passionate to do more projects, to do more personal shoots. So yeah, I think it's like, I don't know, it's my mandate, I guess. I think that's a word for me. It's a mandate. For the longest time, art is always neglected, but surprisingly, people are turning into art. They have the interest, but they're always denying that they need art, because wherever you look, like around you, there's art. Like there's advertising as well. There, every every object, everything you see is art for me. So I think people, or like everyone, is kind of like in denial to accept art in their lives. So for me, art or photography is for everyone. You just need to like have the balls to accept it, or like to get into that shit.
What do you think is the purpose of art?
Art for me is like a lot, speaks a lot. So it speaks like what I it speaks like for yourself and for the society as well. So it helps me in my end. It helps me to express myself, or like to share or to share how I see the world, I guess. And art makes people feel inspired to do more, or like to be more brave in what they're like being hesitant, because by just talking or by just doing what you love, it's like you're affecting a lot of people, because back on the back of their minds they have like, oh, I can do that also, I can do that shit, I can do that, but why I'm not doing that? So for me, when I'm focusing on my art or like keep on doing that, I'm kind of like inspiring a lot of people to do their stuff as well. So that's how like I see myself. Like that's my mandate. Like to continue doing what you love, continue the passion, being obsessed with your art is it's the best thing. I mean that's how I say it. Being obsessed, because I take no as an answer. I don't have the idea of failure for me as well. Even success. All I have in my mind is like doing art till I die. That's like, as long as I can do art, I'll do art. Like I don't have an aesthetic for now, because for me, like a certain aesthetic has to be like developed for years. For me, I consider myself as still a young creative, so I still have to discover I still have to dabble in every genre, every kind of art that I see. One thing that makes me different is like how I approach art. Like I see it like a more personal level. I see it like I always go deep, like in terms of references. I always put subtle references. When I see a movie, like I always go into the details till I make it like a huge one. So like, because Jess and I has like yearly projects, so we always make challenges. That's how I make my passion of projects. So before I challenge her with a fish, then a bird, then a Siamese twin cat, then we almost did every animal. So like, why not let's resurrect the dinosaurs? So we made the dinosaur editorial as well. So that's how I see it. Like I make some simple stuff complicated. That's how I put my art. Like I think that's the best to describe my aesthetic or my style. I make simple stuff complicated for myself and for my team.
So what do you think is the role of the team in general?
It helps me to translate what I have in my mind, because with my team, I think we have like a personal communication. Like they understand me, I understand them, even their roles. I know that when I form a team, I know that they have the certain qualities that can help me translate the certain concepts as well. So yeah, I just know them on a personal level, like how they can transform something and help me to make it more like make our what make the concept in my mind alive like that. I think my mandate, yeah, is to create more passionate people by working on by do keep on doing the art that I'm doing. So that's my mandate, to create more passionate people. So I think my source of that's how I put it. I think my source of inspiration is the compromises I see. Like there's always a problem. There's no perfect production. There's no perfect photographer. Or like I always see compromises, and I always work with compromises. Because yeah, when there's like the perfect production come or like I can work on it. Because I always deal with compromise. I always deal with problems. I always deal with something lacking on some people. So I think I always see seek inspiration in struggles, because we're just like creatives are like they breed problems, they breed compromises. Because I always hear this in my on my podcast that if you don't want problems, you can't be a creative. You must change the career that you want to take, because we are problem solvers. If you can't solve a compromise, you're not being creative as well. Yeah. I think challenges, problems, compromises, that makes me go up to my bed. Me, myself, I'm living with compromise. So my eye is a compromise as well. But that compromise is a challenge. That challenge is always an advantage for me. So I'm a colorblind. I'm a red-green colorblind. So on the layman's term, it's a red-green colorblind, but it's called deuteranopia. So I'm often confused with the color green and brown. I always kind of like switch that. Then blue and violet, pink, sometimes gray, yellow is sometimes yellow green. So we discovered that when I was like around 7 years old. We had a family reunion. So it's the very first time I saw my cousin. My cousin is from Bicol. Then he's a moreno, a dark skinned guy. So I'm so curious that time that I asked my brother that why is he color green? So because my only color references before are like crayons. For me, the crayon green and brown is the same. Then I throw my crayons away when the label is not intact na. So I asked my brother why is color green. Then he laughed at me. Then they check my coloring books. They see the trees are brown and the trunk is green. The sky is violet, even the sea is violet. So that's it. Like that they discovered. But I always loved colors before, like red. I always loved doing puzzles, like with the vibrant colors. But yeah, I don't know those colors. But I always having fun playing with it. A few years ago, like my first 2 years, I was not the colorblind creative. Like I didn't call myself that because that's my insecurity as well. Because when people know that, like they always trying to play with my eye, like, oh, what color is this? What color is that? So that became an insecurity before. Then when I tried, because I don't have the money that time, so I always have the urge to apply some jobs. So I always went to some interviews. Then yeah, the interviews went going well. Then at the end of in the interview, I always ask them that, are you okay for you to hire a colorblind? Then I'm jobless that time, so, till now. But yeah, by discovering myself, like I'm trying to communicate like how I can make myself different. Because part of being a freelancer is being a good businessman, a marketer. Because you need to market yourself. You need to deal with the clients as well. So I decided to call myself a colorblind creative because I don't want to be just a photographer. I want to be an overall creative that create concepts, do marketing strategies as well. So that's it. That's how the colorblind creative was born. Then, because I realized that you don't need to hide your weakness before, but because For me, it's like a matter of a perspective. So I changed my perspective. I realized that I have a different one, but I also can communicate through a normal eye. For the past 3 years, I've been training myself to see how a normal eye see. Like I tried to color like just the normal coloring correctly. I trained myself to make it like as my second nature. So now I don't have to check each color in color pickers of Photoshop because I kind of like I have this in my arsenal that I have these variations that this one when I put this light quality of light or this color it will become like that. So I tried to learn that like I have this formulas now, so that it didn't become a weakness now. It's more of like strength and how it's my niche.
If there's one thing you're super proud of, which one word would it be? And why?
I don't have like a favorite, but if I have to pick one, I guess this is the latest one, the light painting that I did with Jessica. It's kind of we did it like on a whim, like it's just a spontaneous project because I miss my friend, so I have to catch up with her. So I went to her house and I don't have a concept in mind. I just want to try something. That's why I'm proud of because that's a path that I want to take as a photographer. I want to blur the lines of being a photographer and artist. I don't want to end up being just a fashion photographer. I want to be an artist. So now that I have the means, I want to create an art, my magnum opus. When I saw the final output, like, I was amazed that I really wanted to print like a huge print, like a large format print. I wanted to see in my living area every day because that's how I loved it. I was captivated by that photo. It's kind of magical because we're just having fun that time, and I think most that's the photo that I'm most proud of because that's how Jess and I bonded. Like that's how we knew ourselves. That's how our partnership worked. It's a part that I knew her so much. That's why we come up like that because we have like common grounds that we believe in auras, we believe in spirits, we believe in the universe. I think that helped me work on that project as well. I have this mantra that I always say to the other creatives: always just trust the process. I think it's a Philadelphia mantra, but for me, it's all with the process. The industry wants you to just keep on doing what you love. You can't make it as a shortcut because you have to go with the process of loving it. Struggle is part of the growth. So if you're gonna have it as give it a silver platter like that, you won't develop the love. For me, losing this career might be like the most painful part because I grew this love for the longest time that losing it will not be an option or like having a different career will not be an option. I work on it like 365 days a year. I don't even consider rest as an option because that's how I love the craft. So if you want to be on this industry, you have to be passionate, not just being passionate, I guess, being obsessed with the art or the art of making it because that's how you grow it. That's how you grow the love as well. You don't need to like be good on the first years. This growth will it's part of it. Like you just need to train yourself. You just need to love it every day, put your heart on it. And the aesthetic or style, I believe it will come along because that's how I make myself. Because I don't consider myself an artist before or like a creative guy or an artistic person before. As I mentioned before, that photography and painting was just introduced to me when I was in college. Then I just turned myself into creative. I just became open to learning and discovering whatever the world has to offer. So I think that's it. Like being open, being being strong to whatever the challenges will come, and being obsessed with your art. I think that's it.
Any last word?
Trust the process, and you are where you're supposed to be. Struggles are there, compromises are there, success are there, but you don't have to question where you are right now. Your decisions will bring you where you're supposed to be. Because your decisions will reflect on where you are right now. So be wise on your decision, be obsessed with your craft, just believe on yourself, and it's a long game. It's a long, long game. And yeah, you just have to do it and be obsessed with it. That's
So
it.
now you've used the word obsessed so many times. Now I have to ask, what's your definition of obsessed?
I heard this on a podcast that because obsessed has a bad connotation, right? So he said that it's not enough to be passionate on your craft. You have to be obsessed because being obsessed is you're not taking no for an answer. You're not taking failure for an answer. You're just like you already know your purpose and all you have to do is fulfill it. Fulfill your mandate. So being obsessed with this is like failure is not a failure for you. It's always a challenge that keeps you doing what you love like that. That's being obsessed with me.